here are largely dioxin and PCBs. And these are contaminants that do not volatilize or vaporize easily, and they also don't dissolve in water. So they are a good candidate for permanent storage because they're not going to leach and they're not going to go into the air. So, as Stacy said, there will be no chance for humans to come into contact with those contaminants. The highest levels, as I said, will be shipped off-site and will not be in the CDF anyway. This will get the contamination out of the river, where a potential for additional contaminant movement can happen should high flows happen in the future. High flows in the river. Upland contained disposal facility provides an opportunity for beneficial reuse and it also meets regulatory criteria. And compared to other options that we looked at, like shipping it off-site, bringing a portable incinerator on-site, it is less costly. Next. This is an example of beneficial reuse of where material has been stored at the Superfund site. Similar to Centredale, it has dioxins and polyaromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs. And a community park has been built on top of this facility, and the municipality and potentially responsible parties came to an agreement or arrangement that satisfies the community beneficial use plans. So now Stacy is going to finish up the presentation and open to Q&A.
There are a lot of ways that you can comment, and your comments are incredibly important to us before we determine what our final cleanup decision is. So we are, once we conclude this portion of the meeting, as I said, we will go to the hearing. So today, this afternoon, you can provide your comments orally. You can also come this evening at 7 o'clock, let me forward. 7 o'clock tonight in the North Providence Town Hall. We'll also be doing the same thing, so you can provide oral comments again tonight. It doesn't stop there. As I said, the comment period has extended until February 13th. After today, you won't have a chance to do it orally, but you can still send us a fax, you can send us an email, or you can write us a letter. And all of this information that's on the board here is on the back page, the very last page of your proposed plan. So you have that. Obviously, the proposed plan has a January date, but you can update that to the February date, and that information stays the same for how you can provide comments to us. So what happens after the comment period? I do want to give you a sense of what are the next steps that happen here. I've said that we can't make the final decision until we hear from the public. Once the comment period closes, we will look at all of the comments that we received. We will consider them. We have to respond to them in what's called a responsiveness summary. And basically, we will respond to each comment that we get. That responsiveness summary will be part of the public record. It will be out there for people to read. It will also be part of what's called a record of decision. A record of decision is simply a bureaucratic term to say final cleanup plan. And we plan on issuing that this coming September 2012. Once we issue it, we then start negotiations with potentially responsible parties. A lot of people say to me, how is this going to be paid for? Superfund is based on the premise that polluters pay. So once we have a final cleanup plan in hand is when we engage with the potentially responsible parties with the objective of having them come to the table and actually do the cleanup themselves. EPA does not go away. We stay in the role of overseeing the cleanup in a supervisory position. Those negotiations can take a couple of years. You heard Anna reference 5 years as a potential time period till work would start. it can take a couple of years to do negotiations with the potentially responsible parties. Once those negotiations close, we then have to do design work, much like you people have heard me use the example before of if you were building a deck on the back of your house, you would need to figure out how much weight can this deck support, how much lumber do I need, how much is it going to cost me, how many nails, how deep do I need to dig this. That's exactly the type of detailed work that we need to determine that we can't do that until we have a final cleanup plan and until those negotiations have occurred. So I know some people have said, for those who live in the area, it's those details that you're the most interested in, and I don't blame you. I would be interested in those details as well. You want to know how many trucks, hours of operations, those type of things that impact you on a day-to-day basis. And those, although we have general ideas of things, the real details of it won't happen until after the comment period has closed, after we have a final cleanup plan, after the negotiations have concluded. But that doesn't mean that public involvement goes away February 13th when our comment period closes. Absolutely not. We stay engaged in the community. You may not hear from us for a while those negotiations happen, because those don't happen out in the public. But once those negotiations conclude, we will be working with the municipalities, both North Providence and both Johnston. We have Pam Sherrill here from the town of Johnston. So we will stay engaged working with the municipalities. We will also stay engaged working with the communities that are impacted. We don't go away from that. We also have Alicia Lair here from the Woonsocket River Watershed Council. And Alicia's group has what's called the Technical Assistance Grant, where they receive money from EPA to be able to understand the technical information that's here. Alicia's a wonderful resource with that TAG grant. I would encourage people to get her contact information. I'm putting you on the spot, Alicia.
I have cards with me, by the way. I'll just put them out on the table, too. And
Great.
I'd love people to contact us. Anything that we can help explain further, we'd be happy to do that.
Thank you. And that's part of the purpose of having a technical assistance grant in the community, because the community has an independent technical person to go to say, what about this or what about that? And Alicia can help facilitate that connection and interaction. So we work and stay in contact with Alicia, so we're not going away. And when we get to the point where the details start happening, we will be back out to the community to share those details. So I just wanted to share that with people, because that's been raised to my attention as a concern that people have. So I would like to get to the question and answer part before we conclude and go to the hearing. So this is your opportunity. Again, once we start that hearing, we can't respond.